Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to Hiveswap Friendsim. Now, last we left off, we met a rather interesting purple blood musician in volume 16. Now, we're on to our last of two volumes, volume 17 of Teen and Tech Arabic. And yes, this is it, fellas. Another night of laughter and camaraderie. Another night of joy and communion with some totally normal teens who would never... Haha, just kidding, idiot. You're still on Ontaria. You just know one of these miserable chuckle fucks around you somewhere, waiting for the exact right moment to inundate you with another disgusting dose of friendship. Who is going to be the author of your destruction of this accursed evening? So we got... and Nikki Mula. Fair enough, I suppose. And she is what looks to be a cerulean blood. So let's get into this with the Daraya Jonjet. Goth teen versus buff chick. Goth teen it is. You drag your feet as you walk, every limb heavy and slow, and your thoughts are cloudy and dull. Your palm husk is filled with unanswered texts. You feel guilty about this in the back of your mind where real feelings live crammed together, because the front of your mind is too busy being lethargic and numb. Being bad friends goes against the core tenets of your beliefs, but answering texts just seems like too much effort. You're not sure where this particular malice came from, just that the usual friend-making animus that drives you is still there, but it doesn't feel strong enough to overcome how tired you are of everything else. You can't quite remember how you felt to care that much about companionship and camaraderie. In fact, right now, you can't remember how it felt to care about much of anything. Your thoughts drift to fantasies of driving your car into the uninhabited Altarian desert until you run out of fuel, and perhaps letting the sun have its way with you. It could be part of that feeling that you've almost made all of the friends that are here to make, and that there's little left for you to do on this planet. It could be weeks of trauma catching up and sinking you into depression to protect you from thinking about it all. Either way, it just feels like so much effort to do anything, and you'd sort of welcome oblivion if it showed up right now to offer its sweet embrace. Your listless walking has taken you into a familiar neighborhood. The cerulean part of town. You smile as you reminisce, sweet memories peeking through like beams of sunlight through the fog of apathy. Not far from here is Malik's Hive, with all its hacking equipment and charming upper-middle-class atmosphere of entitlements, complacence, mixed with vaguely social-aware concerns. And though you've only seen pictures of it on Twitter, you know that Ramila's hipster art studio Hive is also in the neighborhood. One block over is Atelia's place, which gave you your gruesome, troubling introduction to Altaria's social norms. One taught you love, one taught you patience, one taught you pain, or something like that. The hive you're closest to is actually Elwuvd, and as you shamble closer, you realize that a lot of other trolls you seem to be converging here too. Fishing out of your palm husk, you see that the unread message from Elwuvd is an invitation to a party at her place. You can see all the sort of different lights and stuff. Looking around, you feel like an aim of your flame of your old heart's desire to meet and reach rekindling in your heart. There are plenty of trolls here you haven't met yet, plenty of opportunities for friendship. The now roaring fire in your belly feels a little artificial, like someone who's just injected you with friend-making hormones to flood flood out your regular human monotony, but you're not going to complain because this is vastly preferable. As you're walking briskly toward Elwuvd's hive, you spot a troll looking in the shadows by Edward's back door. Curious, you approach, and when you get closer, you can spot the jade queen in her outfit. Although there's not much of her blood color in comparison to what most other trolls seem to sport, because she's mostly wearing black and spikes and black spikes. Ugh, it's you. Guess it makes sense you'd be here. You're probably friends with Edward, huh? Whatever. Yeah, you're friends with Edward, but you didn't come here for the party. You're just in the neighborhood trying to mimic Daraya's disaffectionate slouch. It's not hard, as you can just channel you from about 60 seconds ago, who was very disaffectionate indeed. In the proving arc of Daraya's eyebrow, you think you're doing a pretty good job. Yeah, parties are lame. Most parties are anyways. This one might be cool. It looks pretty cool. I mean, she seems alright. I don't think that she's that cool. I just think her hair and clothes and personality don't completely suck. Practically don't comment on the green blush to Daria's cheeks when she's talking to her, nor the way she keeps glancing at the door like she's hoping someone will invite her in. She clearly is trying to sneak into the party and doesn't have an invite. When a branch snaps in the bushes, Daria startles and looks around shiftily. You wonder if she's supposed to be out here on her own this far from the cabin zone. I'm not a baby like Wanshi, so what if I snuck out? Cloister rules are so lame. Borneo's so lame. Can't believe Elwuvd used to hang out with her, but I guess if she hadn't befriended Borneo, then I would never have met her. It's hard to meet non-Jade Bloods in the cabin, all the time underground with nothing but Luskai and grubs and the same stupid jades every day. It sucks down there. Jonjet's imitation grub horn bracelet she flung and she folds her arms over her chest. Her heavy makeup makes her look like her eyes are twin black holes, where all the sense of fun and caring about things might go to die. She's giving you a marked contrast. Now Branya talked about the caverns with the peace and quiet and safety they offered compared to Artonio's surface. And other than the time Linnea nearly killed you in the cave, and the time you were nearly trampled by rampaging Luskis, you remember liking the caverns. You big bats. Don't know why I thought you might be cool. You might be friends with Elwuvd, but you're also friends with him. Branya and Linnea. They're the two most boring trolls on this planet. You cannot feel slightly defensive of your fans. Sure, Linnea is Linnea, but you wouldn't call her boring. And Branya is very fond of rules. It's true, but she can hang. Whatever. This conversation's dumb. I don't care if you can't get me into the party. Nothing matters anyway. Just make your stupid choice and go on with this. I should go home. Thinking about the Jade Blood Caverns has got you really missing them. The quiet monotony, the cute little grubs, the dank air and darkness. Think of a better place to lie down and have a depression nap. Or perhaps even a depression coma. So you straighten up out of your slouch and tell Daraya that regardless of her Branya and how cool or lame she is, those cloister rules probably exist for a reason, right? Maybe the two of you can go back to the cabin together. Ugh, fine, be a goody to Shut Prawn and Casmins. I'm gonna go somewhere where it's not so lame. Lame. Party hard. Yeah, what the hell? It's not your job to keep anyone in line, and it's not like you to have a great understanding of why even the older Jade Bloods need to stay underground anyways. If Daraya wants to sneak into parties and get into trouble, who are you to say no? Darian expressions no pleasure in your decision. Get into the party. She shrugs off and rolls her eyes. You shrug and roll your eyes back. You can play the role of the disaffectionate teen with the best of them. Taking her around to the front door, you take her around to the front door. Hey, you're looking forward to seeing Elwuvd again. When you meet her, you didn't really have as many friends as you do now. In retrospect, you came off as kind of syntheopathic. it be great if you could introduce Elwuvd to the new, popular, knowledgeable you? As you're walking up the steps, a huge shadow dwarfs you. You look up to see Chahut, of all trolls, grinning above you. Hey, little one. That's so cool. Chahut's here. So I'm gonna make a note of that. I remember you, and you is this new little one you got with you. Chahut switches her interest from you to Daraya, grinning down at her. Daraya isn't huge for a jade blood or anything, but she seems absurdly tiny with her heart looming down at her like that. Her face remains impassive and bored, but she scuffs one of her big black boots on the ground and twits one of her sparkly bracelets around her wrist. Cute. Don't see many little jade bloods outside the caverns. Though it's found Greenies fascinating, so devoted to the continuation of the species. What a holy mission. Slowly and lazily, when she crosses her arms. Like she has all the time in the world and no conceivable reason to rush, and she reaches out to pat Daria's shoulder. She lets her hand linger, one claw resting against Daria's neck. Into the dangerous position to be so far away from your green brothers and sisters, unless you're hiding something in those pretty veins. The slimy chill runs down your spine. Daraya seems frozen to the spot, staring straight ahead at Chahut's posing in front of you. I think Chahut is joking, but it can be hard to tell with clowns. They're just so much more highbrow than everyone else's. Just joking. This looks like a good party, even if Elwuvd is too blasphemous for my taste sometimes. So both of you little ones inside. Then she ambles away, bending down to duck inside the door to the party. You hear party sounds, music, and laughter, clinking drinks, and what could be the sound of someone being murdered, which qualifies as party noise on this planet. Then the door swings shut again, and you and Daraya look at each other. Daria's heavy makeup can be hard to read her expression, but you can still tell that she's rattled. You know what? It looks like this party's filled with some lame confirmers. All these high bloods, what that bind to the system and do what they're told, even Elwuvd. We could find something better to do somewhere else. Yeah, to hell with this party. You're down to find your own fun, especially if that means not putting Daraya in the potentially murder-happy clouds. As you saunter away from the party, you realize that Daraya is looking at you expectantly. Well, you got this reputation for being all unconventional and weird and rebellious. Everyone seems to think that you're like totally fucking with the conventions of society or whatever. So you got any bullshit to do? God, you've sure felt a lot of pressure to be quirky since word has spread about your manic pixie dream alien ways. It's not like you're trying to be a vehicle for other characters to project onto, assisting in character growth and insight for those around you, while your impulse decisions and carefree ways somehow keep yourself stagnant and forever unchanged. It just seems to sometimes be like that. Anyways, you're tired and it's starting to have a punk team expecting you to come up with suggestions for bull stuff. You have a feeling that she's just going to shoot down whatever you suggest. Rack your brain for trying to think of anywhere from your many adventures that Daraya might like. Your kingpin comes up with zilch and squatch, and she's starting to look bored with you. Confessing that you can't think of anything is probably an option if you want Daraya to be your friend, and as exhausted, as disillusioned as you feel with your socialite routine, you like her and you want to bond. Don't know, what do you want to do? You tell Daraya that you have no idea for cool things to do because everything on this planet is lame, but she's from here. Doesn't she know any of the non-lame places to go? Ugh, I told you, I'm stuck underground all the time. It's not my fault, I'm literally sheltered. I'm literally sheltered and never get to do anything fun. Oops, maybe this was our approach. He seems pissed at you, but then Daraya sighs loudly and uncrosses her arms from her chest. I do know one place we can go. It's pretty alright, I guess. It's better than here anyway. Far though. Not a problem. You got wolves. You were walking around the neighborhood because, well, you felt lifeless and glum, and your car needed alien fuel, which you've been reluctant to ask someone how to get because you don't want to be told it runs on grub grease or something like that. But now you have a purpose again, and you're more than willing to provide in service of your new friendship gal. Take Daraya to your car parked a few blocks away, and she directs you where to go. You drive through the neighborhood through Elwuvd slums where you met Volker and Cloprom, the busy Arizon sector where you had adventures at Takura, and the Austria and Indigo Blood Empire where color clothes. Excuse me, I'm sleepy. Eventually the buildings get sparse, and you think about how you're yearning to drive out into the barren landscape and not die, maybe, but stop. Just let it all end. Don't think Daraya would take you all the way out here just for you to both meet sweet oblivion, but who knows? Trolls can be kinda hard to predict. Just when you think you've reached a point where there can't be any more city or suburbs left, a rubble of massive old buildings come into view. It looks like almost like a miniature version of the main Otarian city that you used to, except it's all abandoned and mostly in ruin. Nothing around here looks inhabitable. Uma has it that some trolls who lived here pissed off the convicts, so she called this whole town. That would have been way back in the day. It's so much ancient history now. If there are any survivors, I guess they're either dead or up in space. Anyways, all these old buildings are kind of sick. There's never anyone here, and that means that. You drive until she tells you to stop in front of a huge crumbling building, and even though this thing is half gone, you can still tell it's a mall. It seems a bit different from the mall you visit with Polopia, even aside from the fact that it's totally dark and there's no one inside it. It seems more old-fashioned and a lot more like one of your familiar Earth malls. Every dystopian movie you've ever seen has taught you that extremely wary of abandoned malls, and you feel pretty nervous as Dorian takes you up the rickety frozen escalator. It's so dark that you can barely see your hands in front of your face. You're trying not to show your fear because you don't want to look like a wuss in front of you, but you can't hold back a whimper when your foot lands on a step that makes an instinctive about to collapse noise. Don't be scared. It's okay, I've climbed all over this place 1,000 times. Anything that isn't already disintegrated is sturdy enough. And there's no risk of calling out here because, well, everyone's already been called. She's done slower towards you than you would have expected, and her given cynical and spiky demeanor. You swallow your fear as you reach the top of the escalator and tell her that it's chill, you just have some horror movie associations. Dania turns and pats you stiffly on the arm. You never tell her this, but her reassuring manner once she's noticed someone is in distress kind of reminds you of Vanya. It's worth it when you get to the cool parts. Come on. She continues to be dark for a while, though you see some lights up ahead. As you get closer, the hall opens up to the food court, and you see that the light moonlight is shining through the mostly absent room. And Dania was right, there's something cool about the decrepit, empty food court with the roof caved in. Rubble sits atop a cafeteria table, and platonic food trays are scattered on the floor. And, okay, that might be the remains of a troll skeleton still wearing a mostly disintegrated fast food uniform, which is less cool and makes you remember that this place is abandoned because the condescending sent Jones here to murder everyone. Wanna know the weirdest thing about this mall? It seems like actual adults used to maybe work here. I've gone through a lot of stores, and some of them are for adult-sized things. Nah, this store is just like the shit Jones bring you now. There's armory supplies for all going off-world, too. This mall was built for adults. Must be really fucking ancient. Has it really been that long since there were any adults on this planet? Even after all your time on Otaria, that still kind of freaks you out. What must that be like to grow entirely without adults? To live on a planet that's nothing but kids? Daraya gives you a weird look. Huh? What would it even be like to have adults down here too? That sounds like way more dangerous and stupid. It's not like we're all regulars. Trolls have to grow out of their mindset pretty fast. People have responsibilities or whatever the fuck, and at least they pretend to, and there's training and stuff for jades. We're basically traps. Maybe you think that a planet for kids would mean you can do whatever you want, but I've never had any kind of freedom. And I've allowed even less than adults. Cloistering jades aren't even allowed to join the Imperial Army. Instead, we get shipped off to live in isolation. We're forbidden to contribute genetic material to the slurry, and no paling is allowed once we mature. There's some, I don't know, bullshit fashion reason that I pretty much don't understand at all. On Daraya, your whole future is decided the second you're happy. People tell me all the time that I have it lucky as a jade blood, but I don't feel lucky at all. Oof, yeah. You agree with Daraya that the future she described sounds pretty bleak as hell, right? It's gonna fucking suck. It's so shitty that I have it good. I mean, at least I don't have certain early death in my future, unlike a lot of low bloods. The system's so fucked up and it's never gonna change, and I hate it here. I just want a way out of it. Maybe when you go back to your home planet, you can take me with you. The request comes out of left field, and for a few seconds you just blink at her stupidly. Even with all the angry black makeup gloss around her eyes, she just looks so sad and lost. You wish you had a different answer to give her, but you tell her that you can't take her back to your planet because you don't know how, when, or if you're ever going back home. You've been trying not to contemplate the future because on the rare occasions that you do let yourself think about it, central dread tends to take over. Dread. Yeah, that's a word for it. The older I get, the more I realize how shitty things are. Try not to think about it, just like you. But it still hits home sometimes, and when it does, I don't feel like angry or rebellious. Instead, I feel completely fucking paralyzed. This too is a familiar emotion to you. You feel for Daraya, who has wandered over to the middle of the food court and is staring up through the cave up at the moons. Has her arms wrapped around her middle, and the spiky jewelry and jagged haircut and big black boots don't do anything to make her less small. Wish you knew what to say to make her feel better. You've done a decent job of cheering up dejected trolls in the past, but it's hard when you're feeling so crappy about your own situation. Mutter something about how things could still get better. You never know what the future holds. Yada yada yada. And she looks at you like she knows just how your words are. You sound just like Bronya. Next, are you gonna tell me how important jade bloods are and what an honor all this responsibility is? Give me a break. Wisdom is for chumps and losers. Keeping grub safe doesn't matter. The continuation of our species doesn't matter. Nothing any of us do fucking matters. Really, your blood is getting hot to match the steel that's now in her voice. A sick part of you finds the train of thought a lot more viscerally satisfying than trying to cheer up, which wasn't working anyways. You stand your feet, and so does she. I can't believe anyone bothers trying to carve out a real life on this worthless shithole of a planet. There's no point. You might as well be culled. In the back of your mind, you know you should be disagreeing with some of this, but maybe you're too worked up to care. Maybe Daria's right. Maybe nothing matters. That's fucking right. Maybe I should just quit. You're full to your righteous fury. Maybe quitting is going a bit far. Maybe the high bloods that go around causing death and destruction just because they can't have the right idea. This is starting to sound not so great. What doesn't sound so great about it? Who cares if I decide I don't want to be a caretaker and instead I just want to burn shit down for fun? There's no point in anything, so what does it matter? Who cares? Denia's hands are balled up into fists, and her teeth are bared as she glares at you. You open your mouth, maybe to tell her that you care, even though it would probably sound trite, but no words come out. She scoffs and turns away from you and jumps up on a crummy-looking cafeteria table. You know what? Fuck this. Friendship is as pointless as everything else. She picks up one of the chairs and really need to stop being surprised at the strength of even the scrawniest looking troll, and hurls it at the nearest fat food stall. You thought it would just be a random throw at first, but it appears she was aiming with precision because it crashes into a tank of fuel connected to the oven. You're not sure how Tyrion's cooking technology works, but this all exploded in a huge green-tinged fireball that knocks you on your ass. That is kind of a spooky look. There's bird just standing there. You watch in horror from your ass-level vantage point as the flames lick into the restaurant on either side. The explosions happening around the food court like dominoes. Daraya stands on the table in the middle of it, unmoving even as the fire threatens to envelop her. This is probably the only place actually left on the whole planet, so good riddance. It's gone, one less thing to care about. With all the dust and debris, the small is coming down faster and faster. You desperately want to get Daraya out of here, but you desperately want to save yourself more, and Daraya doesn't look like she wants to be saved. But then you make a feeble attempt at going over to her and trying to grab her around her waist to get her out of here, but she kicks you hard in the chest. Her steel-toe combat boots send you flying, and it's once again 0 days since you last broke your ribs. As used to this pain as you are, it still takes you a second of lying on the floor in agony before you can push yourself up to look back at the food court. A wall of fire now separates you from the tables inside. You can't even see Daraya anymore. Your heart sinks. Maybe you should come to her senses and pull herself up out of danger and escape through the... Maybe she'll get out some other way. You stumble to your feet, half thinking that maybe you can find water or a fire extinguisher in some part of the small that isn't burning up, but smoke chokes your lungs, and in your panic, your human survival instinct sinks over. You dash down the escalator as the small infrastructure starts to crumble around you. You don't want to abandon Daraya, but it's all you can do to get your own sorry self out of there alive. Game over. Time for Wander the Streets Like Hooligans. Here's the thing, your weirdest and best adventures have happened to you when you were decided to be spontaneous and just let shit happen. Adventures and coolness are both hard things to plan. So what are you suggesting, that we just wander? Or your emphasis tone makes you hesitate. Well, yes, that's exactly what you're suggesting. Daraya gives you a long, considered look. You hold your breath, then she shrugs. Okay, whatever, sure. Don't like I have anything better to do. Let's just go. Ooh, this is an interesting background. Looks like shops. Kind of wish I'm guessing all the lights suggest which types of shops that you all run by or something. You meander through the well-maintained Cerulean streets, heading downtown. This seems like a good opportunity to get your new potential friend, so you start by asking her some fairly simple questions. Ugh. How am I? Gee, I don't know. I'm forbidden to leave the stupid caverns, and as a J-blood, all I have to look forward to is a life of being forbidden to do things. How do you think I am? Okay, try to work that one back a little. Sounds like Daraya is unsatisfied with the J-blood setup. It's one way to put it. You could also say that I'm unsatisfied with the whole setup of my species. You haven't been here for a while now. Don't tell me you haven't noticed that every part of our society is transparent bullshit. You glance around because Daraya is right. You've been around for a while, and that means you know enough to know that if the wrong people overheard this kind of talk, they'll both get caught on the spot. But everyone here seems distracted by their own nonsense. Across the street, you can see that, you notice that a certain bullshit aroma. Yep, it all stinks. No one has any kind of real future here except the highest of high bloods. And actually, I've heard that things pretty much suck for them too. Some of them say that purple bloods are the most privileged class of them all. You're just going to continue not to comment on that one. Instead, being a J-blood, Daraya has a purpose beyond that. Just growing up, to become fodder in the Imperial Army. Like you heard other trolls mention, surely that counts as a real future? Ugh. Don't get me started. Suffice to say, I'm not exactly hyped about the purpose that I'm supposedly have. More like the purpose that is arbitrarily assigned to me. But it's not like I have a choice, and rebelling in any sort of real way would put me in danger of a culling. Life here is pretty much just hopeless. Man, you wish you had a good counter-argument. You want to give her some words of comfort, but what can you say? Daraya's right. Shit is grim. At least you're honest. Thanks for not bullshitting me. You know, Lyria said you were good to talk to about this stuff. Guess she was right. You're surprised Lyria's going around talking about you, saying positive things even, but you're more surprised that Daraya is bringing her up in a non-derivative context. You didn't know that Lyria were close? Ugh, no, gross. I hate Lyria. Not in a romantic way. Or well, anyway, never mind. Daraya looks at it embarrassed and flustered, and also pissed off at you. At least you've gotten the subject away from how hopeless everything is. But still, you don't want this friendship to sour. As you're scanning your useless brain for a tactical subject change, you're saved by the footsteps of a new troll approaching. Hey! It's Tyzias. As your luck would have it, you know this troll. It's Tyzias. It makes sense because your meandering has taken you into your closer Karen's favorite book hive. Oh, it's you. Tyzias. Later becomes later. So, what are you doing here? Never mind, I don't even need to ask. You're obviously making friends with this. Searching for some dumb shit to do, no doubts. Don't let me. Tyzias just looks exhausted, as you remember. You don't want her to go just yet, because it's been a while since you've seen her, and you're always eager to make an opportunity to catch up with, a friend, especially one of the less murderous ones. Then notice Daraya eyeing Tyzias' mug of unidentified liquid, and an idea occurs to you. You get excited, bouncing fluid off the balls of your feet, as you introduce Tyzias and Daraya to each other. Explain to Tyzias with a meaningful look that you hope she'll interrupt correctly that you and Daraya are just conversing about the more unjust aspects of society and how hopeless everything seems to be. What do you mean, the more unjust aspects? What, does Altarian society have aspects that are not unjust? I'm steep into studying our legal system and I haven't found any. Daraya makes a muffled sound that could be a laugh. You make your meaningful look more meaningful. Doesn't Tyzias remember that conversation she had with you about justice and the jade system? The importance of possibly futile work to try and prove things someday? Missing? Tyzias squints at you, then takes a long step from your head. Right, yeah, I remember. You wave your hand around. Now we're talking. Tyzias is one of the few friends you made that seemed to not only notice the shit was fun, but wanted to dedicate herself to unfucking the shit as much as she could. Of course, many of your dear friends tried to make the world a little better in various clumsy, interpersonal, distinctly utilitarian ways. You think that Chixie's striving for her music even when it pits her against Hiveswap, the baffling but sweet ways that Konya and Nigeria, Gallic and Tagore take care for each other, and follows her commitment to political. Wait, why did you think of that guy? He's a total shit still for the condescends. Anyway, Tyzias has a big picture mentality and a cause that she believes in, and the fact that she hasn't yet completely given up is inspiring. Daraya is struggling with feelings of despair, so maybe Tyzias could talk to her about the work that she's been doing. What? No, I'm not struggling. It's whatever. I don't care. Daraya kicks at the ground sulkily. Tyzias looks her over, her eyes lingering on the jade symbol on her shirt and the spiky black jewelry inside. Sure, you don't care. I went through a phase of telling myself that too. Thought it would make myself easier to deal. But nah. Tyzias pauses for another mug sup. You think you might be enjoying the opportunity to monologue a little bit. Daraya huffs. The only thing that helps, and I'm not even sure that help is the right word for it. I'm finding something to work on in your own little corner. Try and making shit a little less fun. But there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do in my corner. It's pointless to pretend otherwise. And that goes for everyone, like The whole system is designed to help high blood stamp out dissent in every corner. Oncho can't even do anything against something like that. Tyzias' eyebrows twitch as she stares at Daraya, clearly peeved at being interrupted. Oh, this could be going better. Oh no shit. What do you take me for? I'm not saying that it all takes standing up and fighting for what's right or something stupid like that. That's obviously a surefire way to get cold. Well, then what are you saying? You don't even know whatever piddly action you're taking will change anything. You can't tell the future, dumbass. No one will give you a guarantee that any kind of action taken will be ultimately effective. You'll have to decide for yourself that it's worth it to try it anyway. Why would you think it's worth it when everything around us confirms that nothing will ever change? You never call me a dumbass when that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Daraya looks at you like she's about ready to throw her context of rebellion in Darren's face, knowing she'd probably follow up with the mug itself. This is not the conversation you hope for after all. Step in before things can get any more heated. Tell Tyzias that you're sorry that you didn't flag her down just so her ideas could get shit on. You turn to Daraya, who is staring at both of you with a defiant look on her face and a stubborn set in her jaw. This kid, she's just so dead set on rebelling against anyone who tries to tell her anything, with even the faintest whiff of authority. Really thought that maybe with the attitude could be channeled into something protective, that it would also help her fuel into a better and positively even give her chances, give her a sense of purpose. You're not mad, just disappointed. Don't give me that look, okay? I'm just starting my opinion. But I guess I could have had a less bone watch about it. You're pleasantly surprised that Daraya more or less apologized. Tyzias looks mollified too. The shit just makes me so angry. Angry, sad, and helpless. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself when I really have to think about it. Bingo, unfortunately. I feel the same way. I don't think there's any getting around this helplessness, but what I was trying to say is that working on something that might help fix something someday makes that feeling a little less powerful. So what you're saying is that what you're saying is that it's just about making yourself feel better? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. I believe I'm working on things that might affect change someday, even if I'm not around to see it. But also, yeah, most of the time it helps me sleep at night. You can tell Daraya is a bit disappointed by this. Like, she doesn't trust that political rebellion can go hand in hand with making the rebels feel good about themselves. You point out that whenever or not Tyzias feels good about her work doesn't make the work itself any less effective. Yeah, in the end, the universe doesn't care about how I feel. Just one troll trying to do the right thing. Or at least they'll care for your own sake, even if it might ultimately be futile. What the fuck else are we gonna do on this bitch of Ontario? You got me there. I'm bored all the time and there really isn't anything cool to do down in the caverns. I guess during the downtime in my training. No, maybe. Not that I have anything to offer other than the book hive and the jade cloisters. Doesn't that actually really help with my research, actually? Give me a number and we can talk. Is this just your imagination, or does Tyzias look a smidgen less tired? The bags under your eyes look less baggy and her back a little straighter. Do you think the corners of Darren's lips might be very slightly quirked up? Darren's turns to her, possibly smiling from Tyzias to you. This is cool, I guess. Or at least not as bad. But I don't know if that counts as something cool. So I guess we can keep hanging out until more shit happens. You know Daraya well enough by now to recognize this for her tingling, ringing endorsement. You're about to happily agree when Tyzias pipes up. I'm just heading home from studying, but I'm not tired yet. You wanted a third wheel to drag along. Chip combo victory. Zah. And with that, I'm gonna end this episode of Friendsim here. Hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path, wherever it might lead you into the future. Bye-bye.